Hello everyone. Now we're finished with performance management and now we are going to go to employee satisfaction and commitment. Now if you're in IO, if you're studying research, you're going through all of the research studies, you will find that there's a lot of studies related to job satisfaction and commitment. Why? Because job attitude is among one of the most extensively researched subjects in IO psychology. Now, we've mentioned several work motivation theories that have collaborated or corroborated with the implied role of job satisfaction. You have, I hope you remember, work satisfaction theories like Maslow's 1943 hierarchy of needs, Herzberg's 1968 two-factor motivator hygiene theory. Then we have Adams' 1965 equity theory. This is quite old. Porter and Lawler's 1968 modified version of Vroom's 1964 VIE model. Locke's 1969 discrepancy theory. Hackman and Oldman's 1976 job characteristics model. This is also very useful class. And the range and effect by Locke 1976 and Bandura's 1977 social learning theory. Then we also have Lundy's 1978 opponent process theory, and all of these classes have tried to explain job satisfaction and influence. I'll be listing all of these theories. These are important. In your LMS, you'll find it below this video so you can have an idea of what these theories are and read them on our own. Simply put, employee satisfaction and commitment is very, very important. Why? Because we are now going to need to retain those that we have hired, those who have trained, and those that we are preparing for succession. Now let's first understand what the meaning of these words are. So guys, the first and most widely accepted theory is that of Locke in 1976-1975, who defined job satisfaction as a pleasurable or positive emotional state resulting from the appraisal of one's job or job experiences. So ano gid bala ang akong na-feel sa akong trabaho? Am I happy? Am I sad? Okay? Now you have your job satisfaction and it has something to do with your emotional, cognitive, and behavioral components, according to Bernstein and Nash 2008. The emotional component refers to job-related feelings such as, am I bored with my job? Paliwat-liwat lang ba? Am I anxious because don't have any job security? Am I acknowledged by the people around me? And do I feel excited about going to my job? The cognitive component of job satisfaction pertains to beliefs regarding one's job, whether it is respectable, I'm an engineer, versus I am a junior program assistant. So, for example, no, you're a graduate of engineering class and first time nga nagsulod ka, so program assistant ka lang, nagabulig ka lang sa engineer or engineering assistant ka lang versus kung ikaw gijaya ang project engineer, okay? And then, is it mentally demanding, challenging, and rewarding? Does it, make your mind work? And finally, the behavioral component includes people's action in relation to their work, such as tardiness, working late, faking illness, okay? Or saying that I am sick even though I'm not, to their work, okay? in order to avoid them. All right, so let's go back to the components. You have your, I hope you are answering me mentally. Okay, so you have your emotional, you have your cognitive, and then finally you have your behavioral. The behavioral component comes after the cognitive and the emotional. And then lastly, you have organizational commitment, or how you are committed to your company, how much you still want to belong to the company, and it is thought of as an extension of job satisfaction because it deals with the positive attitude that the employee has, maybe not toward his or her job, but towards the organization. So, do I am I proud to be working in the University of San Agustin, or do I, lower my voice if they ask me, "Where do you work?" I sure. No, you don't say it because you're ashamed to say which company you are in. So, generally speaking, class, if you are in the organization, make sure that you're proud of it. Okay? Especially when you talk to other people, mas nami gid siya nga out. Even though there might be issues that you have, you address it to the proper person, like your HR or your supervisor, instead of, publicly uh, telling the world about how you feel. Okay? Assessing employee attitudes about their job is one of our major tasks. I repeat, assessing employee attitudes about their jobs is one of our major tasks. Now, what are the things that we study? Among the most commonly studied job-related attitudes are job satisfaction and employee or organizational commitment. So, what are the things that we study? Job satisfaction and organizational commitment. Although there are two different constructs, job satisfaction and commitment are highly correlated and will result to similar employee behavior. So, maskin lain-lain siya, parihas lang ang iya tumong, ang batasan sang tawo, magwa gid, bangod sang iya nga satisfaction sa iya work or satisfaction sa iya nga organization. We often find that job satisfaction and organizational commitment are related more to the desire to quit, miss work, or reduce effort than they are to actual behaviors. So guys, I will know if my personnel already are looking for other jobs because they will miss work. Basta pala absent. Yes. They are going to reduce work efforts in their job. Okay? Usually, pala absent kina, pala late na. Balaan mo nga nagapangita na sang iban nga trabaho. Now, we told you all about organizational commitment and job satisfaction, and there is also a stable relationship performance, between job performance and job satisfaction. Okay, so what are examples of this? Complex jobs, be there is a strong relationship between job satisfaction and performance than jobs of low and medium complexity. Kaya tani siguro boring ang mga tao. Ako I find challenge. Kung challenging ang trabaho ko, mas malipatan ko nga may oras gali because I like my job. Okay? I'm challenged with it. Now there are two approaches to study job satisfaction, and the first and most common or most analyzed is global job satisfaction, which refers to employees' overall feelings about their job. I love my job. Okay? The second fast is multi-facet approach, which refers to feelings regarding specific job aspects such as salary, benefits, work hierarchy, or reporting structure, growth opportunities, work environment, and the quality of relationship with one's co-workers. Sample, I love my job but my schedule is difficult to manage. Taga BPO ako gabi na. According to Kerber and Campbell, measurement of job facet satisfaction helps identify specific aspects of a job that require improvement. The findings may aid organization in improving overall job satisfaction or in understanding organizational issues such as high turnover. Now, inasmuch as there are several facts about job satisfaction, there are also several myths about it. One such myth is that if you are happy, you are productive. Not necessarily. Research has offered that a happy employee is productive. On the contrary, some research has also suggested that casualness may creep in, shifting from productivity to satisfaction. Meaning to say, guys, it is multifaceted. So, hindi siya nga, I will be happy all the time and therefore I will be satisfied all the time. Hindi, guys. Naga-shift siya from one facet to the other. Also, guys, nagaabot, guys, ang pagka-kampante. Kampante na ako kay kabalo na ko. Nami na ni siya. So, hindi na ko yung mag-isip sa iban kay kampante na ako. So, therefore, I may not be productive. Anyway, my boss is good. I like the work environment. I know my job very well. So, kampante na lang ko. Kaasta na lang na kaya natakaan ako mag-improve. Okay? Therefore, if there is a correlation, it is a weak one. So, guys, study on research about this. Because knowing that research does not support the idea that happiness and employee satisfaction will create productivity, why is it that we still study it? Well, many will say that IO psychologists will research toward this one because happy employees do not negatively affect productivity and can have a positive effect on workplace and society at large. Yes, they may not be productive, but when you see us to somebody happy, ma-inspire man ang iban mong upod na maging happy man para sa ila. Diba la? And so they can also have a positive impact on the organization's brand image. So, syempre, makita mo nagakurisong siya, damo-damo siya tuod na ubra, pero sige siya kakurisong, namiyan ka pa da mag-ubra. Or, kita mo damo siya natapos, pero kung receptionist abi sa klase nga maldita. Oh, 'di ba ang customer, mga estudyante hindi na gusto magpalapit sa iya. So those are the things that we also consider. So we also want to make sure that people are engaged and people are happy. Okay? Another fallacy is that pay is the most important factor in job satisfaction. And we know that it is not, diba? It's not pay. Okay, so if you look at Herzberg, right? In reality, employees are more satisfied when they enjoy the environment in which they work. So, may ara, iba nga, hindi na lang ko magalintod-tod, ganiya, kaya I like my job, I like the people I'm in, magaan lang. Kaysa sa, dako tuod akong sweldo, pero dako man ang ginademand sa akong outcome, di man, gaaralaway lang man kami nga mga kaupdanan. Ako guys, personally, naagyan ko na gidna, no? And I choose really to have lesser pay kesa sa to be stressed all the time with all of these things. But I would rather be happy with the people that I work with. Okay? And as long as it is challenging and stimulating, you won't be wanting to leave. So guys, in other words, the simple idea is this, that there are numerous factors that you must take into consideration to determine how satisfied your employee is. Okay? And it's not always easy to determine which job factor is going to influence productivity or satisfaction. So, no, that job satisfaction is very subjective. And so let's look at different aspects of your job satisfaction. The first is to answer the question, what causes employees to be satisfied with and committed to their jobs? So what are antecedents of job satisfaction? The first is commitment. And there are three motivational facets to organizational commitment. The first is affective commitment. It is the extent to which your employee wants to remain in the organization, cares about the organization, and guys, importante ha, is willing to exert effort on its behalf. Okay? The second one is continuance commitment. And it is the extent to which the employee believes that he or she must remain in the organization due to the time, effort, and expense he or she has invested. Now guys, let's clear this up so that you can read it well. Let me change my cursor and here. So must remain within the organization due to the time, effort, and expense he or she has invested. So for example, no, 40 taon ka na. Sounds familiar. Hindi ka na lang maghalin kay tiara ka naman, dugay ka na da, naka-training ka na da, ma-adjust ka na naman sa laining organization, so dira ka na lang, kay pila naman lang katuig, ma-retire ka na, right? So that is continuance commitment. No? So sometimes we have to look at these people, guys, ha, because you know these are actually people with a good business knowledge. So hindi nagawa grabe ang training mo sa ila. Pero hindi sila happy. So dira lang sila ya tungod kay dira naman lang sila. Tapuso na lang na nila ang ilang trabaho. So it's good to know if they are productive or not. Maybe you can do job transfers, maybe you can do other things for them, you know, that will help them. And the last is normative commitment, the extent to which the employee feels obligated to the organization as a result must remain with the organization. Like sa akon, sa una kaagi ko, di kay si mami ko, dira man nagpa-opera. So, dira na lang ko kay grabe nang akon obligasyon, no? Sa kumpanya ka to, kay ti libre, tanan-tanan ang bayad ni mami. So, dira na lang ko. But, was I productive? Sometimes yes, sometimes hindi. Kasi it becomes so difficult na for me to wake up in the morning to go to work. And so I had to reassess myself. So that's why if you remember, no, I've been in Cebu for the longest time with that company, and leaving was the hardest thing for me to do. And yet, it was just a first step. Okay, so, you know, you have to, on a personal note, guys, no, as an employee, you have to be able to assess yourself. But had somebody talk to me, no, counseled me, I probably wouldn't have left. Had they asked me, okay, ano nga parte sang trabaho ang pwede naton islanhaw? I wouldn't have had left. So that's why here in my job, we have what we call an early warning system. We call it our EWS. And it's a system that looks into attrition. So we study this monthly. Sino ang may mga risk kag sang mahalin kag sa hindi mahalin. So that's our way as OD people to look into job satisfaction, job context, and try to, as much as possible, retain all our employees. Now we go to personal personality perspectives. May batasan gid man bala nga tawo nga wala naga-stay sa ila nga trabaho because they're not satisfied. Wow. No, do parehas na bala nga kadamo na sang girlfriend mo or boyfriend mo san o ka pa settle down. Wow, it's a question. Okay, so is it true that there are types of people who are not going to settle down? By the way, class, why am I using the word settle down? It's because actually, I think of um, staying in the company or being with the company or employment with the company as a relationship. It's really how you and your employer stay together. And if it's not anymore healthy, if it's not working, then maybe that we should part ways. But what's important is that there is mutual respect, open lines of communication, and understanding between you and your employer. So as an HR person, as an IO person, we need to be able to cultivate these types of relationship. Okay, so now let's go to the individual differences and job satisfaction. So there's a thing that we call a personal predisposition. Predisposition, ara na sa imo that you are going to be most likely unsatisfied. So individual difference theory posits that job satisfaction variation is due to the personality tendencies of the person to enjoy or not to enjoy his or her job. There are also different kinds of personality variables. Lain-lain nga kinaiya sang tao. And the first is genetic. Now, if you are a manager, you will say, genetic. Hindi na gina siya magsunod sa akon. No? So, it will state that there are some people that will probably not be satisfied with any job. Okay? And so, maskin mabuang patas ang liwat-liwat nga retain sa iya, hindi gina siya mag-happy. Okay? So, what are we going to do? One way to increase the overall level of satisfaction in the organization would be to hire only those applicants who show high levels of overall job and life satisfaction. So yeah, actually we also do that in a way. We have a risk profiler, tendency of the person to hop from one job to another. By the way, class, no, okay lang na mag-job hopping ka in your 20s, kaya naga-shopping ka. Pag 30s ka, medyo red flag ka na sa Aamodt, no? Don't transfer from one job to another. Okay, so Judge, Locke, and Durham have hypothesized that there are 4 personality variables that are related to the person's predisposition to be satisfied with life and with their jobs: emotional stability, self-esteem, self-efficacy, and eternal locus of control. Now, what is the difference between self-efficacy and external locus of control? So when we talk about self-efficacy, what we mean here is your perceived ability to master your environment. There is a deadline, so I will do my work ahead of time so that I will be able to um to finish all of these things that I have to do, and I will not be stressed. Okay? External locus of control is perceived ability to control your environment. Okay? So it means to say that people are prone to be satisfied with their jobs and with life in general, have high self-esteem. A feeling of being competent, and are emotionally stable. Okay. So guys, there are several kinds of meta-analysis for that. I think it's good for you to study on self-efficacy and locus of control, because if you if you believe it, it's going to happen, right? You studied that. So try to make a correlation between that and your job satisfaction. Feeling ko there will be a lot of positive correlations. Okay, so let me know. Update us in our chat box. Okay, so what about life satisfaction? So people who are satisfied with other aspects of life seem to be satisfied with their jobs. And people who are happy with their jobs are satisfied in their home life and vice versa. Okay guys, totoo gid niya. Your life satisfaction, job satisfaction actually has something to do with your life satisfaction. Whether you believe it or not, it's very important also to see the work life, the personal life, because the personal life will overstep into your work life. For example, okay, one of my co-workers had a problem with her kid because he was not going to school but instead was playing video games. And because of that, she would miss deadlines, she became irritated with her staff, and so we had to talk to her and counsel her, on how to go about it. In the same way, if your job is so demanding or so taxing, you don't have a good relationship with your boss or your coworkers, it goes into your life also, personal life also. So maybe you cannot be good with your spouse or partner anymore. Gamay-gamay lang naiirita ka sa spouse mo or partner mo. Or the kids will do something and you're going to get mad at them. So in other words, guys, life satisfaction also has something to do with your job satisfaction. So, if you have parents who are in a very taxing environment, be the psych major that you are, talk to them. Nga how, hindi pwede mag-counsel ang bata. So, or do things that will make life easier for them because life at work is not going to be easy. And that's the reason why, as much as possible, I'm also trying to manage your expectations and ready you for work life because it's not always, there are many ways, there are so many things, guys, that is going to make you happy in work. Promise. But there are also so many things that will challenge you in work. I also promise that. So, ready yourself, prepare yourself, okay, for that thing that's going to happen soon. And it's part of life, and it's the beauty of life, guys. The moment that we accept that there will be change in our lives, it's gonna be easy, and we will be more satisfied with our lives. But the moment nga ipilit tabalang idealism ta sa world, the world doesn't work like that eh. The world is a give and take thing. Okay? And in as much as you say it's nasty, God, there is so many things that will surprise you about the beauty of life, the beauty of work, the beauty of people around you. Promise. Okay? Even in these circumstances like COVID-19, there is also so much that good that happened in my life, especially in my personal life, no? So yeah, we've been hearing some things about not being able to bond with your family. Well, here I am with my mom. Okay, so again, no, there are so many variables in terms of personality that will affect your your job satisfaction, and as a practitioner it's good to know these things so it's easy for you to make a checklist on your variables. Okay, culture and intelligence. So for culture, guys, it depends. There's a study that was done by the FDS, and that there were a lot of countries that were measured in terms of job satisfaction. And it was said that the employees in UK and Ireland had the highest levels of job satisfaction. So siguro kung lantawon mo ang taga-Ireland, hindi man sila stressful. Tapos damo to ya sila kahoy, damo to sila environment. So It may not be like America, but the people there are satisfied with their jobs. However, in South America and Asia, we find it as the lowest. Okay, why do you think that people in Asia and South America have the lowest job satisfaction? Write it down. Upload your answers for Pogi Points. Sige be? Why? What job factors can you identify? Okay. Now let's talk about intelligence. Now, generally speaking, studies on intelligent people find that there is a tendency for them to be unhappy in comparison to people with median intelligence. Okay, and why is that? It's because of expectation. No, people who are intelligent find that there are less people who have their same level that they can talk to and relate to. That's one. Di ko nila maintindihan. Number two is expectations. So maybe they're very good at something and they don't understand why some people just churn out the normal hasta lang ng iban, no? So they don't really understand that. And that's why there's this movie that I saw. It's one of my favorite. It's not a movie, I'm sorry. It's one of my favorite series. They call it House. And there's this episode here nga may isa ka maalam nga tao nga nagainom siya sang bulong para magmangu siya. Okay? He developed, I think it has something to do with math. Was it a problem or something? He was very intelligent and yet he was so unhappy that he left all of those, took a medication. Don't do that, ha? But took medication so that he could be with somebody whom he loved. Oh. Right? So, what's my take on this? Are we not going to hire intelligent people? Actually, class, sa HR, miara, gid man kami nga, daw wala na lagi na hire kay sobra siya kaalam. No? I have terminated people who were board top-notchers but were not able to adjust. However, kung maayo ka nga HR, pangitaan mo gid na iya paagi nga hindi ka mag-terminate. So, anong ginubra namon sa isa ka maalam? Number 15 sa board exam, ha? Number 1 sa klase. Anong ginubra namon? Inbutang siya namon sa isa ka lugar nga siya lang isa kag naga-research siya. Happy siya ya, guys. Happy siya ya. Balik siya sa ako, ma'am, tsaka amunin ng mga discover ko. Okay, fine. No, write it down. I was just so privileged that, syempre, I was in a facility or an institution that promoted intelligence of that nature. No? Happy lang gid ko yaya. I was so lucky gali to have that. Di kay syempre hospital kami, we are a teaching and training institution. So may research component gid kami sa hospital. In fact, we are required nga everybody from the downward, the manoy, ang kapanglimpyo guys, hasta ang head of office ma-teach. May teaching competency kami. Nga anong obra sang manoy? Tudloan niya sang proper positioning ang pasyente samtang naga-wheelchair. So yeah, we teach our manoys how to teach. Well, amazing, right? And so this intelligent person, super intelligent person, was in our research laboratory and then he was happy there. Nag-assistant siya sa isa ka doktor. Medtech siya mo. Nag-assistant siya sa isa ka doktor. Oh. May isa man kami kaalam-alam nga hindi man siya pwede mag-relate sa iban. So, ano ginubra namon? Ginubutang siya namon sa isa ka high-precision job. And he's happy because ka-precise sa iya. Siya ang nagapangutod sang specimen. Amo kay isang specimen mo, tag 3 centimeters, 1 inch. Amo lang na nga, alangan mo makuha ka sang parts sang liver nga 5 inches, di ba? Kung ma-dead na to yan, no? Or makuha ka sang party sang lung, makuha ka sang lung mo nga, 10 inches of your lung, o di, dedo ka na, no? So, hindi. So, kakuha kami sa mga 3 centimeters, and then you put it in wax, and then you cut it. So it has to be very, very thin so that it can be seen in the microscope, right? You've had your training there sa laboratory, right? And you know kung ano siya kagrabe, no, ang preciseness. So, dito siya bagay. So, in other words, guys, it's always going to be about alignment. It's about aligning the person to the job. Okay, looking for other ways in which the person is going to be satisfied with his or her job. So that's it. So, you know, you get your assessment. Assessment is very, very important. You get your assessment, you use your results wisely, and that's the gift that you bring to the organization. Tiga-assess kaya. Ikaw ang gahambal, no? So, nami nga may IO nga registered psychometrician, gid. Because, gabulig gid siya. So, sa previous ko nga kumpanya, nakuha gito ya board si Chris. And then, he is in acquisitions. So, employee acquisition siya. So, siya gahatag sa test. So, duha na sila ang naga-administer kag naga-check sang test. Nga puro licensed psychometrician. And it's great. I love it. Okay, especially, ano man makuha kaya sang lain nga kurso. No, nami gidya no. Nga may ara man nga daw scientific backing si human resource. Okay, what about the environment? What about how people relate and interact with one another? Is there going to be an effect on job satisfaction? So people who are satisfied with their life are also satisfied with their jobs. We know that. And there are a number of researches that talk about that. So this, guys, is a very important finding. So when you do performance management, guys, it's also important to note how satisfied people are. So we've been discussing about factors that affect job satisfaction. So when job expectations are not being met, job satisfaction becomes low, and the employees will have the intention or make the intention to leave their jobs. And this, guys, is consistent with the discrepancy theory. Actually, we've been discussing about discrepancy theories already when we talked about motivation, but it's good to have, how will I say this? It's good to have a review of what these are. And also, it's also good for us to measure job satisfaction. So we have there a questionnaire on job satisfaction, and I have attached the link of the overview for you to read, as well as a short form. So please take down notes about discrepancy theories and measure job satisfaction, and I will see you on the last slide.